How's it going, gents? Here we are, Royal Enfield press launch. Just about to take off on this green looking British machine. So you might know Royal Enfield, you might not. Start off as a old British company of making rifles and high quality precise instruments. And then they started making motorcycles, then they had a break, then it was bought out by India, then it was Indian Enfield, I think, and it's come back to Royal Enfield, and they have just been destroying it. They've just been selling millions of these things. Just actually met the president of Royal Enfield before. He had a chat with us, and he's around. But we're going to test out these. So there's three models. There's the classic 500, the cafe racing one, which I think looks pretty cool. Can't remember the name of it. Shit, the GT, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's called the Continental GT. It's a 500, all kind of based off the same platform. And then these old army looking, Harley looking things that look cool, the classic. So the Bullet, the GT and the classic. I really like these with the matte color. I reckon they're cool. I want to ride one of these after it. I'm going to ride this because it looks like a little Thruxton that I rode recently. Alright, got my hipster gloves on. Brown cafe racer hipster gloves that have been burnt because I was cold and put my hand on the engine. Very kind of bumbly stuff. Why does mine not sound that good? Yeah, these sound good. There he is, President Royal Enfield right there. Can we rip a big skid when we leave? Here we go, the wave off from the president of the frickin' company. This is what every ride should start off with. Imagine if the president of bloody Honda waved me off every ride. See you, mate. So, Royal Enfield Continental GT. It's got the good name. Choke. Oh, Jesus. I'm not going to lie about the quality. It's basic. Jesus. That red one's got a bloody loud pipe on it. How do we get these mirrors to work? Maybe we'll ride for a bit. Before we pass any judgments, let's just ride the bike. This is something I've learned recently about riding motorbikes, is there's a big difference between reading spec sheets and actually riding a bike. I think the GS is one of the bikes that kind of taught me that, is that I never really understood the GS. I always thought it was way too heavy. Just reading the spec sheet, you just look at this and you're like, what's going on here? This is a big heavy bike, doesn't seem to make much power. And I've kind of learned you got to ride them to figure them out. What's going on?
Are you talking?
Yeah, I'm always talking to myself, to the camera. These are all motorcycle journalists stuff I'm doing. This is the Royal Enfield press launch. I always get a bit confused when I'm sitting there talking to myself. They're used to writing magazine articles. I'm going to just cruise on a bit. That red one's a bit noisy to sit behind. And obviously this isn't a track bike, this isn't a class leading bike in any way. It's a cheap bike with a nice style, and it should be an enjoyable ride. So as the president said, he wasn't trying to, you know, talk it up and say it's the world's best bike. It's a nice simple bike with a nice simple price. And I mean, it looks good. If you put Triumph on the side of that bike, you'd fool a lot of people. Trying to look cool for the cameraman. Gotta get the pics, man. Gotta be in the pics. All about them pics. This is the comfort seating of the bike. The highway cruising. Alright. First impressions of the Royal Enfield Continental GT 535cc Indian manufactured cafe racer, which is an old-fashioned motor, I'll tell you that. Got an old-fashioned character to it. A little bit of vibrations up the top. It likes to lug around down the bottom, so you want to keep flicking up the gears, keep it in a nice low RPM. Start revving it out, which I'm horrible. I rev out every single bike I'm on. You get a little bit of vibrations through the handlebars. It might just be this model. I'll try it out on the other bikes, but she definitely likes to lug down low RPM, so it's feeling a lot better. I'm trying. I don't think it'll do it. Oh, throttle! I'm not gonna lie, it seems it's a budget motorcycle. It's a simple, how do I want to describe it? It's got a charm to it. I can't say character because all the Ducati guys they've used up that word too much. The Ducati character. Taking a nice sandy track, are we? No, we're just pulling over.
So this corner here, we've got the photographer down the hill. He wants the photographers coming around the corner, 3 abreast.
There we go. Who wants to see some Royal Enfields crash? 3 abreast. How's this for a picturesque lookout? I kind of got to think of this bike. It's not a Thruxton, that's for sure. You can never take this thing to the track. You're not going to be beating people on the twisties. It's really not that type of bike. I mean, whereas the Thruxton was kind of a cafe racer, I mean, it was kind of like a sports bike that looks like a cafe racer. Really nice suspension, really nice brakes. This is definitely a very basic, very kind of simple, lazy motorcycle. It still trundles along great, but you know, you're not going to be freaking beating Marc Marquez with it, and that's for sure. I think I found it, guys. I think I found it. I was trying to think about how I can really, you know, say what this motorcycle's for. With this motorbike, the main selling point is the price and the look. Whoa, big bumps. Jesus. It's the price and the look, really. You're getting, with this bike, you're getting a cafe racer, a really nice looking cafe racer style. The classic, you're getting the more kind of classic Royal Enfield looking style, you know, and the cheap price. That's the main selling point of this bike. But I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to just tell you buy this bike because it's cheap. I want to tell you what it's actually good for, and I think I've found it. It's really good for really ultra lazy riding. I am sitting in 5th gear right now, doing about 50 k's an hour. The bike's overturning at about 1500 RPM, and she is just chugging along like a steam engine, man. Really smooth at this very low RPM. I mean, when I first got on it, I really kind of noticed the imperfections quite quickly. You know, obviously coming from a Japanese motorcycle, you know, you're going to notice the imperfections. But I'm starting to kind of enjoy the different characteristics, the engine, the kind of sloppy kind of gearbox. I mean, it feels kind of loose and sloppy, but it seems to work quite well, quite better than some German gearboxes I've freaking found in my time. Even the strange like exhaust note, it's kind of got a sputtery putter and a bit of a tick to it. After some time you kind of get used to it, you start kind of enjoying it. I mean, if you're just going for, you know, a perfectly precise cafe racer style motorcycle, you're probably better off with something like, I don't know, the Suzuki SR250 or something. It's going to be a pretty relatively cheap and probably a smoother, more precise kind of motorcycle than this kind of Royal Enfield. But if you do like the look and a little bit of character to it, this is definitely it. Oh, snacks. Give me that roll. Give me that roll. Alright, next thing. The classic 500 in this kind of flat, almost military blue looking style. A lazy old classic. Now this is a basic motorbike. You thought the Continental GT was basic. What do you get on this bike? You get a light that tells you your engine's blown up, a light to tell you you're out of fuel, how fast you're going, and how many Ks you've done. That's it. I mean, it feels very same. Other than the slightly different seating configuration. The engine feels very similar. I mean, they're based off the same platform, so you pretty much just got a slightly different seating configuration. And alright, there's something I got to mention. I know there's going to be wind because I'm at about 80-90 k's an hour. To say it, the vibrations are quite apparent at 100 k's an hour. That's not too bad at 90, it's right up at 100. My hands would be numb if I was to sit at 100 for an extended longer time. That is might be something you could dial out with some bar ends, but I mean, there's a significant vibration coming through at 100 k's an hour. I did notice that on the GT as well. I thought this might be a bit better, being kind of different style handlebars, but it is still there. That would... Ooh, that's bad to be at 100. It's your freeway cruising speed. The time you want to be able to sit comfortably on a motorbike is at 100 k's an hour. Right at that 100 is some pretty significant vibrations coming through the handlebars. Unlike that bike. Know what bike I'd rather be on. Alright, you want some brutal honesty? This is the show. I'm pretty unbiased. I don't get paid by these guys. I will straight up tell you if I don't like a motorbike. I don't like that motorbike. The Royal Enfield Classic 500. The vibrations make it unusable. At 100 kilometers an hour, you can't have vibrations like that. That's just not on. The Continental GT. Right now, that's the winning one for me. I would not buy that motorcycle. Probably wouldn't even ride it if you gave it to me. That is yeah, that's not on. Third bike, the Bullet. I thought it was the Classic. This is the Bullet. No, it was just on the Classic. This is the Bullet 500 still. Should be pretty similar to the Classic, I'm guessing. It feels very similar. We'll see how this goes. Just got told by one of the guys from Royal Enfield that this is all hand painted. All these stripes by like the same dude. People do like them though. We had them all parked out this nice little cafe, and the amount of people that came out and took pictures. We've got a crowd of people watching. I don't really get that with sports bikes. I don't even see that stack of photographers. Maybe I'm the wrong person to be doing a Royal Enfield media launch. I really have no interest in old motorcycles, and although this is a new motorcycle, I'm guessing it... Man, this one is finding weird false neutrals. It's got a neutral like in third or some shit. I think you really have to kind of want to buy into the Royal Enfield brand. If someone is just looking for a nice cheap motorcycle, there's probably better options. Arthur's seat. I think last time I did Arthur's seat, I was freaking on my WR and Supermoto wheels with blown fork seals. This is going to be this is not the best bike for Arthur's seat, that's for trues. This is probably the last bike I'd want to be on for Arthur's seat, but we'll give it a go. It just descends into the freaking the clouds, man. Check out you. Not a very confidence-inspiring motorcycle. All the twisties, she'll do it. Just don't try and scrape pegs or anything. Freaking hell. Terrifying. mirrors that don't work. They must have bought their mirrors from KTM. Jesus Christ. Oh, another fake neutral. Frickin' hell. So, this has been the Royal Enfield ride. I'm a fan of the Continental GT. I like the Brembo front brake, but I liked that bike out of the group. The Bullet and the Classic, I didn't like how they vibrated a lot of 100, and they were just a little bit too basic for me. I mean, I liked that Continental GT. I guess the problem with the Continental GT is that it's $10,000, which is a lot of money for a bike like this. I wouldn't buy one of these bikes unless I really wanted the style and the name Royal Enfield and the feel and like the heritage. It's kind of like Harley Davidson, man. Harley Davidsons aren't the best freaking cruisers. Victories are better, Boulevards are better, but people like that Harley sound, the Harley feel, the Harley name, and I think this is what the Royal Enfields are like, man. You know, they're not the best bikes, but they got character, they got the nice name, and they got the cool look. If that's what you want, go for it. Man, these motorcycle journalists, every cute looking girl on the side of the road, they're all bloody honking and waving, and bloody, they're all 50-year-old dudes with kids and stuff. Old dogs. All right, gents. There we go. Royal Enfield. A bike with lots of character. That's the truth. Don't know if it's my cup of tea, but if you like the heritage and the look, it's a nice little cheap bike.
Great ride, great ride.
Can I come past and do maybe a little wheelie